Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sally and this is Secret Life of a Seamstress, my channel where I like to talk all about sewing, knitting and crochet and other crafts sometimes as well. Thank you so much for joining me today and I really hope you're all well. So today's video is going to be a kind of catch-up video really, where I'm going to be sharing some new makes, some things that I made over Easter time. Had a little break from filming over Easter, so it feels a little while since I've done a video. It's not really been that long actually, it's only been 2 weeks, but I feel as though if you have a little break from filming, you feel a little bit nervous to get back into it, or I do anyway. So, but it is really nice obviously to be back filming another video today. So yeah, I've got some makes to share with you, some things that I've been sewing over Easter time, and then a couple of yarn crafty things as well, knitting and crochet, and I also thought I would just quickly share some works in progress that I've got going on as well. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to sharing all of that with you today. So before I get started, I'll just quickly share what I'm wearing. So today I've gone for one of my older makes actually. We're kind of in some funny weather at the moment where it's giving us a little bit of a taste of spring, but it's really not quite that warm either. Although apparently this week here in the UK we are going to be getting a little bit of a heat wave and it might actually get up to about 20 degrees, so you never know, I might be reaching for my summer clothes sooner than I thought. Anyway, today I'm wearing a Jarrah sweatshirt which I made a couple of years ago now I think, from a lovely Atelier Brunette sweatshirt fabric. I do love this sweatshirt, but it's not really one that I reach for in the real cold winter because it's not actually that warm. It's a nice brushed sweatshirt in fabric, but it is quite thin, so I don't feel like this keeps me warm enough in the winter time. So yeah, it is one that I kind of reach for when we're in these in-between months, like going into spring or going into autumn just before proper winter hits. So yeah, I've got it on today and it has been a little while since I've worn this, so it's really nice to have it out and to be wearing it again. Okay, so I'll move on to what I've been making then, and I'm going to do this in sections. So first of all, I'll do sewing makes, and then I'll move on to sort of yarn craft and knitting and crochet, and I'll put timestamps in the description of the video as well, just in case you're more interested in one section of the video than another. So the first thing I'm going to share is actually my finished Anthea blouse. So I had shared in a previous video some of the making process for this blouse. It's a really lovely blouse by Anna Allen Clothing called the Anthea Blouse. It's one that's been on my list to make for so long. And it was actually one of the things that I shared I wanted to make for autumn and winter time in a previous video. So it's getting finished a little bit later than planned, but nonetheless it is done and it's here. So here's my finished Anthea blouse. So I think at the end of my last video where I shared some of the making of this, I got it to the stage where I just needed to add the buttons. So it's all done now and the buttons are added and I'm so pleased with this. I really enjoyed making this. It was just a lovely, fairly easy, but also there is a little bit of sort of fiddly sewing in there as well. But it was a really nice sort of make where I could just enjoy it and take my time over the little details. I've used a really lovely viscose fabric. I think it's a viscose crepe actually by Atelier Brunette. It's one of my favourite fabrics. I've used it before in a dress in a different colourway and I just really enjoy working with it, and I think it's lovely to wear as well. It just hangs beautifully and I really love the pattern in this as well. It gives me kind of vintage vibes actually. It looks a little bit kind of 1950s to me, I don't know. Let me know what you think. It's just got a really nice pretty floral pattern on over it. So yeah, really enjoyed making this pattern. I made the smallest size and I didn't make any changes other than to just slightly lengthen the length of it. So I shared in my previous video that instead of cutting the length for my size, which would have been the smallest size and therefore the shortest size, I actually lengthened it down to the largest size. So it just gave it an inch or so more length. And that works really nicely. It's long enough to have tucked in and it comes around sort of hip length on as well. So yeah, this is a lovely pattern, really good, really clear instructions. I'd say it's fairly easy to make, other than, as I say, there is some sort of fiddly sewing in that the neckline is bias bound. So that's really quite a thinner strip of bias binding there that you need to enclose your neckline seam. And then the lovely huge sleeves. I've got some really nice thin cuff, is that a cuff? Some bias bound cuffs, I'm going to say cuffs, to them as well. So that's a little bit sort of fiddly and tricky, but I don't mind actually doing those parts of the sewing. I find it quite therapeutic and I really like to try and get it nice and neat. So very pleased with my first Anthea blouse, and I do think there'll probably be more of those to come. So another two things that I managed to get sewn up over Easter time, two things that I have been meaning to sew for ages and ages, are two Agnes t-shirts by Tilly the Buttons. So I shared the fabric that I had for these quite a while ago now. I think I bought this fabric in one of the Minerva Craft Club sales, and I brought it in two colourways. So it's a cotton jersey, but it's a pointel cotton jersey. So it has this really nice, hopefully you'll be able to see that, kind of lace detail to it. It's got lots of holey details in it. And this kind of fabric just reminds me of sort of olden day style little girls' vests and things like that, because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this fabric always used to be used for kind of underwear and things like that. But more recently it's being worn as outerwear and t-shirts and things like that as well. And I just really love the pattern to this fabric, or the lace detail to it. It's just really pretty and really vintagey, I think, and yeah, I loved it. So I've been meaning to add another couple of Agnes t-shirts to my wardrobe for some time, but as you know, if you have followed me for a while, I tend to put off the simplest of tasks, particularly if it comes to jersey. So I'd had these jerseys for a little while. All I needed to do with them was just whip up two Agnes t-shirts, but the fabric has sat around for a good couple of months. And over Easter, I just fancy doing some sewing. I seem to be at this weird age with my children now where they're 11 and 13, so although I want to be around for them in the Easter holidays, and obviously we do go out and do things together, when we're at home they don't really need me to be around them all the time now. They'll go off and do things in their room, or my son will go out with his friends or whatever. So now and again I do find myself with these hours of free time that I have to sew, which is nice but also a little bit strange, and I'm finding it hard to get my head around that. But anyway, one quiet afternoon, I think the boys had gone to golf and me and my daughter were at home, and I think she was on the phone to her friend or something. So I thought, right, I'm going to do some sewing, and I got these two Agnes t-shirts cut out and sewn in a couple of hours. So I really should have got on with these sooner. Anyway, so I've got one short sleeve version of the Agnes. So I make a size 2 in the Tilly the Buttons Agnes t-shirt, and I absolutely love it. It has a lovely scoop neck detail to it, which I find really comfortable to wear. The actual pattern has quite a fitted curve to the body, so it does kind of fit nicely to your body. It's quite a fitted t-shirt. I have in the past changed the pattern and just straightened the sides to give it a little bit more of a looser feel. But for these two t-shirts, I actually made the pattern as it was because I wanted them to be quite fitted. I feel like this fabric lends itself better to a fitted style. I think it needs to be stretched a little bit so that you can see the lace detail in it. So this is my first one. I really enjoyed sewing this. I really took my time over it and just enjoyed the process and had a really nice afternoon sewing. You probably won't be able to see this, but if I hold it up to the camera, I'll just show you that I've twin needled around the neckline and around the hems of the sleeves and the bottom as well. And then exactly the same fabric, but in the mustard colourway, I made a long sleeve version of the Agnes as well, with the fitted side. So this one is actually quite fitted as well. And this one, again, just a really nice sort of basic t-shirt, this one with long sleeves, because I wanted to wear this one a bit more as outerwear. I'm kind of thinking that the white one will be really good for going underneath cardigans and shirts and things like that. But this one, I think I'll probably more wear it on its own, tucked into jeans and maybe skirts or sapphire trousers and things like that as the weather warms up. And I absolutely love this colour. It's a really nice mustard colourway. For some reason with these fabrics, the mustard feels so much softer than the white does. They're both exactly the same fabric, so I don't know why that would be, other than that it's something to do with the process of dyeing the fabric or something, I don't know. So again, I just really took my time over this. I really enjoyed the process, and yeah, I just had a really nice afternoon sewing. And I think if I'm being really picky, next time I make the Agnes, I'm actually going to take in the shoulders slightly, because the seam of the shoulders actually sits a little bit off of my shoulder, and I am sometimes sort of pulling it in so that it sits where it should be. It's not something that I'd actually sort of consciously noticed in the past, but I think with previous Agnes tops I've actually found myself doing that as well. So it's just a really slight change that I need to make to the pattern just to get it fitting that bit better. As I say, I do love the Agnes pattern and I do come back to it quite a lot, so I'm sure there will be more Agnes tops in the future. So next time I make another one, I'm definitely going to make that slight change. So that was those, and it was really nice to get those done and out of the way, because they've been on my list for quite some time. So next in sewing, another really good sort of basics job I wanted to get done and ticked off my list was making 2 more Ogden Camis. So again, I think in the same sale as when I bought my pointelle jersey, I picked up 2 really nice Atelier Brunette viscose fabrics that I could just whip up to Ogden Camis with. I really like wearing Ogden Camis underneath things like my Logan jackets and my knitted cardigans and things like that. I don't very often wear them with nothing over the top actually, because sometimes I feel as though they're a little bit revealing. That's just how I feel. I know that lots of people wear them as they are and they look really nice. I think sometimes I just feel a bit exposed in them, but I really like how they look underneath things. I think they look really delicate and really pretty. So I do have a few Ogden Camis already, and I just wanted to add 2 more to my wardrobe. So the first one I made was this one, Atelier Brunette Viscose Chalet, I think this is. It's got a really nice beige background, and then a sort of abstract pale pink, mustard and really dark green, I think that is, kind of splodgy print all over it. And I thought this would work really nicely underneath the things that I already own. I've got some things that I can wear with this in those colourways, like mustard cardigans and pale pink cardigans and things like that, and I think it would just look really nice tucked into jeans or anything else really, or a plain pair of trousers or something like that. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that one. So the Ogden Cami, I should have said before going into detail about my make. If you haven't already seen it, I'm sure you have. It's probably the most popular pattern ever. It's just a really simple cami top, strappy top with a V-neck at the back and then a slightly higher V neckline at the front. Really simple, really quick and easy to make, and yeah, I just love it. So again with this one and with the other one that I'm going to show you in a minute, I just really enjoyed the process, slowed down and took my time with these and really enjoyed making them. So as with my previous Ogden Camis that I've shared, I did French seam inside just to give it a little bit more of a kind of luxurious feel, because this fabric is so nice I really didn't want to overlock it. So on the inside I've done French seams at the sides and then also the sides of the lining as well, and that just makes it feel even more special, I think. And I really quite enjoy doing French seams, and I think because these makes, or the Ogden Cami as it is, as a sewing project, is quite quick and easy to do, so I think just doing the French seams, it doesn't add a lot of extra time onto the process, and it's just something that I really enjoy looking at. I really like to try and make the insides as pretty as the outside if I can. So that was the first one. And then this is the second Ogden that I made in another Atelier Brunette viscose. I thought this was a viscose. It actually feels a little bit like a crepe, so I'll just check what this is, but of course I'll link all the fabrics that I'm talking about below the video as well. So if I'm honest, I think this one is my favourite just because the fabric is really lovely. It's so drapey and so soft and nice to wear. And I feel as though I did a better job of this one slightly. I made the cream one that I just showed first, and I made this one second, and I don't know why, but I just felt like I did a better and more neat job of this one. So again, I French seamed the insides. Hopefully you can see that. Just really enjoyed the process of making these, and I do think the navy one will probably get more wear in my wardrobe actually, just based on other things I've already got to wear it with. and I just love navy really. The only slight change that I make to the Ogden Camis is just to take 1 centimetre off of the length of these straps, because otherwise I feel as though the straps just come too low, which makes the whole top come too low at the V neckline. So just by taking off 1 centimetre on both straps, it just pulls the whole thing up a little bit, so it's not quite as low cut as it should be. The back of the Ogden is actually a lot lower than the front, so if you're not someone that likes to have a low V back, then you could always raise that back V up to meet the front, and that's something that I have done in the past actually. With these ones I didn't, but it's definitely a really quick and easy change that you could make if you're not too keen on the lower back. But yeah, like with my t-shirts, I'm really pleased to have those two added to my wardrobe. I think it was just really nice to make those two Ogdens and those two Agneses because they're patterns that I'm really familiar with. So as I say, because I was sewing with the children at home and everything, although they don't necessarily need me, my concentration is often sort of elsewhere as well. So it was really nice to just take my time and go through two patterns that I was really familiar with. I felt as though they were good Easter holiday sews. So that's it for Sew & Make. So I do have 2 finished knitting and crochet projects to share and then a couple of works in progress. So another thing I managed to get finished over the Easter holidays was this crochet blanket that I was making for my daughter. So I shared this when it wasn't very far made actually in a previous video. It's crocheted as just a huge granny square, so from the inside out basically. And the yarn I've used for this, and it's a chenille type chunky yarn. It's really lovely and really squishy, and she chose this because she has a pastel themed desk area in her bedroom and she just wanted to have it over her desk chair. And this crocheted up so quickly. I think I bought 5 balls of this initially, and it was very annoying because I'd got it to the size that I wanted it really and was going to start doing the edging. I realised I didn't quite have enough yarn to go right around the blanket, so I did end up having to buy another ball of the same yarn just to do the edging. So I do have a little bit of this left over now, but that's fine, I'm sure it will get used for something. So I've just made it as a huge granny square, as I say, and then I've come to the edging and just scallop stitched, is that called? I don't know, around the edges. So I've done a scallop in one hole, and then I've just secured it down with a single crochet, and then I've done another scallop, so it's every other kind of hole in the blanket, and I think that works really nicely. And I so enjoyed making this one. I think I'm really enjoying actually having a knitting and a crochet project on the go, because I think with crochet projects like this, just doing a blanket, it's so easy to do. You don't have to think about it. I can pretty much do it without looking, so I can watch the telly and crochet at the same time, and it's just something that you can do with your hands that you don't need to think about. And I was really enjoying picking that up when I didn't feel like knitting. So I think now that this one's done, I was kind of sad when this came to an end actually, because I just enjoyed it so much and it was really nice to work with because the yarn was so pretty and squidgy and everything. So yeah, I was a bit sad when this came to an end. So I think I'm definitely going to be on the lookout for another yarn that I can crochet a blanket for our living room in. But yeah, I think I'll definitely get some yarn eventually so that I can have those 2 projects on the go, because I did really enjoy that. So that's that one, all finished and done. And then I just thought I'd quickly share that I made another little knitted bunny. So I did recently share the brown version of this bunny that I made. I'll pop the pattern in here and link it below if you're interested to see more details about this. So I made the brown version of one of the smaller bunnies from this pattern, and I had the sort of alternative yarn left over from what I'd made the brown bunny in, so I had quite a lot of white left, so I thought I would make a white one with brown ears and a little brown tail, so they sit together nicely, again in my daughter's room. And I really enjoyed making these as well. They're so quick and easy to make. The pattern is really good and really clear, and they can easily be made up in a weekend or a couple of evenings because the parts are so small, they come together really quickly. So really pleased with that one. I also made my niece one of these for Easter. I made her the brown version. And yeah, I think she really liked hers as well. So that was a really nice, quick and easy sort of fun project to do. So I just thought I would share him as well. And then lastly, just before I go, I thought I would just share 2 works in progress that I've got. So this was another thing that I worked on over Easter. It's this little cute mouse here. So she's kind of half done really. So this is another Studio Seren pattern. I've made quite a few of the Studio Seren dolls now and shared them on the channel. And I just love making these. I say that I make them for my daughter, but really I make them for myself because I just really enjoy making them. So I'd had my eye on the mouse pattern for ages and really wanted to sew it up, and just started on this, and I've been sort of working on it slowly throughout the last couple of days. So this one's made from a cotton fabric. It's quite a thick white cotton fabric, so it's going to be quite a bright white mouse. And I didn't have any plain pink for her ears, so I've just used a scrap of pink floral Liberty cotton to use for the inside of her ears. At the moment she's naked and doesn't have any clothes, so I really need to work on her clothes. And also you might be able to notice that I haven't actually embroidered the nose on yet. And that was because I didn't have the right colour pink, so I did need to pop into Hobbycraft at the weekend to pick up some pink embroidery thread. But I haven't yet sort of sat down to actually do her nose. So that needs to be finished. And then once this is all finished, I'm going to then make some clothes. There are quite a few different little clothes that you can make for the mouse. But what I'm going to actually make for her is the elasticated smock style top, and then some longer sort of bloomer type shorts, because I thought that was a really cute little outfit for a mouse. And then I'm going to try the headband as well. So I think I'm going to use some scraps of Liberty to make the smock top, and then I should, in my scraps box, have some leftover corduroy or needle cord that I used to make a dress for my mum recently, and I thought that would work really nicely as the elasticated shorts that go with that top. So stay tuned for that, and hopefully I will have a finished dressed mouse to show you soon. And lastly, in knitting works in progress, I thought I'd show you where I am with my Rosa Cardigan by Along Avec Anna. So I did mention that I'd first of all started knitting this in a different yarn. It was a cream double knitting Serdar yarn, but the yarn was quite sort of thick and tweedy almost. And I didn't feel as though I was going to enjoy wearing that yarn, so I switched and bought myself some Drops Cotton Merino in this rusty colour, and I'm much more enjoying working with this, and I do think I'll get more wear out of this colour. So yeah, it's going well so far. So I've just separated for the sleeves now, so hopefully you can see there the nice lace detail in the raglan of the sleeves. So all the work on the yoke is now done and the sleeves are separated, so now I'm actually just working on the stocking stitch for the body. And the nice thing about this cardigan is that it's quite cropped. I often lengthen things actually when it comes to cardigans, but this time I'm going to keep it cropped because I think that will look nice over high-waisted things and dresses and things like that. So I'm going to be brave and actually keep it cropped and hopefully that will work really nicely. So that's where I'm at with that. Okay, so I think that's everything I have to catch you up with, recent makes and works in progress and things like that. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I'd love you to consider subscribing. I do post videos regularly and I upload every Sunday at 8 AM. You can also follow me over on Instagram if you like, where I share more day-to-day photos and things that I'm working on, and often posting stories as well. Let me know in the comments what you've been working on over Easter. Let me know if you're working on anything exciting as well, because I always love to know. Otherwise, take care everyone. I'll leave the video here and say thanks for watching again. Have a lovely day and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.